Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Wednesday night stream. I just want to always double check to make sure because I'm always nervous like we go live and the sound's not working. It sounds okay. All
Mhm.
right. But I'm Dustin from Board Game with Education, and we're going to talk about some games and just some topics related to games and education. We're going to play a game at the end. If you're joining and you're watching us and maybe watching the replay, I'll throw this invite out here a couple times throughout the show. But we do have space for 2 more players on Board Game Arena. If anyone wants to join while we're chatting, we'll figure that out. But Roger, would you mind introducing yourself while I get us set up?
Well, yeah, my name's Roger. I'm kind of your partner in crime, I guess. I'm a retired science teacher. So I help out designing resources and looking for games that can help their students or their homeschoolers or whatever to use games as a way to kind of learn content and just as a different way to kind of approach things and whatever.
Yeah, awesome. So we design resources for games, like Roger said. And for the stream, we really like to kind of highlight some games that we have in our store and just highlight games in the board game hobby in general and talk about how you can use them for learning. And we just like to have some chats about different things. And we always start with a question that is for us to answer. And anyone that's joining us, feel free to leave a comment too. This question is, what is your favorite game mechanic? And I want to just kind of give some context to this question before we answer it for anyone not familiar with tabletop games. So, a game mechanic is something that you do in the game that moves the game forward or has some sort of interaction or result from the game. So, an example that I think most people are familiar with, I'll give 2 examples. So, one example is roll and move, and that's in Monopoly. You roll the dice. If you get a 6, you move 6 spaces. That's a roll and move game mechanic. Another one is I don't really know the name of it, the like technical term, but draw and play. Like you draw a card and then you play a card, and that's like Uno, right? You draw a card. If you have a 4, you can play it on top of another 4. If you have a blue card, you can play it on top of another blue card. So that's what a game mechanic is. So I know, Roger, you said you have too many to choose from.
Yeah.
But do you have a
Well,
favorite or maybe a couple favorites?
yeah, I think I like worker placement, but that's not really exclusive. So if people don't understand what that is, that's a mechanic where you usually have some type of a game piece. It can be all kinds of there are variations on it where the board has spots where you will put that piece in that spot and you get to resolve some sort of an action there. And then in many cases, a lot of those are limited or only one person can go there. Once they take that spot, then nobody else can go there for the rest of the turn until the next turn where somebody could go there or whatever. But I think a lot of mechanics really, you don't really see a lot of the hobby board games now where it's just like purely one mechanic. Like you mentioned, roll and move. You don't really see a lot of that. My point is they usually mix it with something. So maybe they
Do
might
you,
mix. Yeah, like
do you have
you
an
like
example of a worker
um
placement that I can throw out?
uh well I'll give an example of one that kind of works like that, that's mixed something with it, which is another mechanic that I enjoy, like a Dune Imperium,
Mm.
which is one of the newer games that a lot of people seem to like. And I think Lost Ruins of Arnak is also kind of, I don't really think they're similar, but it's where there's being comparisons. Well, this is a worker placement where you're putting workers down in a spot to take an action, but it also incorporates deck building, which means you have a hand of cards that you start with. And as you go to those worker placement spots, you can get additional cards that you can use, but it integrates the two mechanics together.
Yeah,
So
Dune Imperium.
yeah, yeah, it's,
It has
I
my
mean, that's
favorite
gonna,
one of my favorite mechanics,
what, deck building.
which is the deck building. Yeah,
Yep. Yeah. And I know Lost Ruins of Arnak does a
your
similar
workers.
sort of thing. So you're using workers and you're kind of collecting cards and um but a lot of games are meshing several of these types of mechanics together. And I tend to like games a lot much more that are mixing those things together. And I'm just kind of amazed how the designers are finding some really interesting ways to take, I don't know how many mechanics there are, but let's say there's probably 10 plus real common ones, and they find ways to integrate a lot of them. I'm sure there's a few, I'm sure there's more than that, but I know it's not a huge number, of different types of mechanics. But I really think it's neat what they're doing in the hobby, where they're just integrating 2 or 3 different mechanics, or 2 of them together, but then they put some little twists on them as well. So, yeah. So actually, the more I think of they integrate mechanics together, the more I tend to enjoy it. But worker placement, I really like.
Yeah, that's awesome. Worker placement is like lower on my list, probably like a mechanic I prefer not to play, because worker placement usually it depends, again, based on what the game is, but sometimes it doesn't have a lot of player interaction, which I really enjoy. But there are some that do. But yeah, going back to my favorite, I have 2. So it's weird because they're kind of on opposite ends. One is deck building, which is you construct your deck within the game. So if anyone's familiar with collectible card games, you go out and you buy the cards and you build your deck, and then you take your deck and you go play someone. Deck builder, all those cards come within that specific game, and you acquire cards throughout the game to build your deck. I didn't know that was a thing when I first learned of deck builder games. One that I really like and that I've been playing a lot recently is Mystic Vale. This game's really cool because it's deck builder plus card crafting, where you start with a card and then you add sleeves to your card, or you add cards into the sleeves. So you create a card and then you create additional cards. I think I talked about this one pretty recently.
Yeah. So you're actually creating the cards that you're playing. You're actually adding and customizing them, what they do. Like they have something on, but you can add all kinds of different things to them and kind of come up with your own. Yeah, like you said, you're crafting your own card from the deck that you're going to use in your deck builder.
And then, so that one's kind of like very strategic, and you can kind of really trim down your deck and know what's in there and kind of figure it out based on this. The other the other mechanic I like is Push Your Luck, which is very much the opposite of strategic. I mean, you kind of know your odds and doing stuff, but I really like to kind of push my odds. And it used to be called Ink and Gold. I think it's called Diamant now. But yeah, essentially you're going through a pyramid, and you're trying to get, the further you go, the harder it is to acquire more gold, and you're just pushing your luck, whether you want to go further into the pyramid to get more gold or not.
Yeah. And you're saying to push your luck. Have you ever played Deep Sea Adventure from Oink Games?
I need to, because I've heard it's really good.
Oh, that one's great. I love that one because you're just I love the story, because I think sometimes the appeal of some games, I think, is the person that teaches it to you, just kind of the way they gave you the story. But I just got a kick out of the way that this game was explained to me. So basically what you're doing is you're all on a submarine, and you have like a little diver, and you set out like that picture. So what you do is you got the sub, and your pieces all start in the submarine, and you set out all those treasures, and you take 2 dice and you roll them. They only have a 1, 2, and a 3 on it. And as you roll it, you get to move out of the boat. You get to move out of the submarine. If you roll something where a person is, then you get to hop over them. But then when you land on that spot, you can decide, hey, do you want to pick up, the goal of the game is to collect treasure and bring it back to the submarine. So you have to say, hey, I'm going out. And you have to state that at the beginning of your turn. Then you roll the dice and then you move. So when you land on a spot, so like that blue piece lit on that spot, he could pick that up. But as you move out, the dots, the values of the treasure, they're worth points underneath them, they vary. So those first ones are not worth that much. So you can press your luck and go out a little farther. But then when you every piece that you pick up subtracts 1 from your die roll of the 2 dice you roll. So if you pick up too much stuff, it's really hard to move. Well, every time you have a treasure, the little red dot is an air tracker. Because what the way that the thing was explained to me was that you guys have all went and hired the submarine. You want to go out and get treasure, but you don't like each other very much, and you have to share the same air hose. So what happens is that people pick up treasure, the air track starts to go down. So you can see if you go out too far, and it always happens when you play new people you teach it to, like they think they can go out really far, and all of a sudden I go out a little ways, I pick something up, I turn around and start going back, and they're like, what? And I go, you're not going to make it. Oh, I'll be fine. And they get way out there, and then the air starts to go away. If the air runs out on that tracker, it runs all the way in, then those people die. They drop all the treasure in that spot, and anybody that got treasure back to the sub gets to keep it. And you basically do 3 rounds. And then what you do is any pieces that are picked up, you kind of condense down the track. But the pieces that are left over start getting put in stacks of 3, so you can pick it up. But it only counts as 1 treasure when you're carrying it back, which those are really nice if you can get to them. But they go towards the end of the track, so it's really funny game. I mean, I've taught it to people. Everybody I've ever played it, it's great with a lot of people, and that's a really funny push your luck game.
Yeah, it sounds like I would enjoy it.
It's awesome. It's so good. I'll play that anytime. It's such a good little filler game, and it's great to, like, if people don't play or you want to, like, I think it's like one of those great introductory games to people too, because it's so funny and entertaining. Yeah. Well, and I think what it does, Dustin, which is good, is it kind of plays on that roll and move mechanic, but they've made it, but they've twisted it a bit, which makes it interesting because your movement gets limited. So people are going to be familiar, like, oh, okay, I'm rolling dice and I get to move, and then, you get to pick stuff up, but then there's a consequence for doing that, when you start doing it. So,
yeah, I love games that kind of are relatable to players who have played things like Monopoly or Uno. So, for example, I always mention Flux. It's uses the same core mechanic Uno does: draw a card, play a card. But I think Flux is a little bit more. I enjoy it more than Uno for sure because it has a bit more. It's a bit more dynamic. I mean, the game's called Flux because it's always changing. It's always in flux.
The rules are they're because a lot of the cards you're playing change the rules of the game as it goes.
Yeah.
So you're never going for the same goal. So yeah.
All right, we got 2 updates from Board Gamers Education. So I'm going to share the first one, and then Roger will talk about the second one. The first one is first update is our board game crates. So this is a survey that is filled out by you, whether you're school, after school program, homeschool, family. Maybe you're looking for games just with some friends to play. It's a personalized, curated selection of games that you can fill out and complete the survey. Essentially, you fill out some questions. This is the first question and get you started is what best describes your game group or learning environment, because we kind of focus on 4 core groups when it comes to games. We don't really have games that are like hardcore gamer games. I mean, we have a couple maybe, but for the most part, it's very much like family-friendly stuff or games that focus on some sort of learning. So you just choose kind of, maybe you do school and class, and then we just learn a little bit more about you and your game group or your learning environment to create a game crate for you. I'm gonna actually, because I don't think you can find. Well, you can find it in one spot right now. It's up at the top here, and that pops up after you browse our site for like 20 seconds or more. I think, and then we've posted it on our social media and stuff, but it's not super clear where you can find it. So I'm gonna post it in the comments. But the other thing, I'll let Roger share this one.
Yeah, so we kind of run a Kickstarter calendar. It's not always Kickstarter, but it can be retail games and stuff. So I'm constantly on the lookout for Kickstarter games that are going up that might have some educational component to them or might be good fit with the goal of what we're trying to do. Also retail games that pop up and stuff like that. So that's constantly updated. So I mean, I'm pretty much in there on a daily basis, looking for things to try to add games to that calendar. And then we do put some information in there too. So there's always a description of those games so you can see what's there. I give like like, yeah, it doesn't show like the player count and the time and the age and kind of the subjects that I think that the game's kind of hitting. Even though I haven't played it, I mean, I do kind of research them a little bit and look and see what that is. And then the retail ones, it's a real similar sort of thing. So, and then that also, we usually provide a link if the Kickstarters went live, because I get some of that information ahead of time. I mean, I have a couple sources where I can find that stuff. And then I also put on the calendar too, like when it ends. So at least it gives you a little bit of an idea if like oh, that looks kind of cool. And I try to find every kind of subject that I possibly can. So I mean, I think it depends what comes out, right? But I try to make sure that to look at all of them and make sure that we're representing a lot of different subject areas if possible, and not just focus on certain things.
Awesome. Well, I put that in the comments too. And also, what's really cool about it, you can add it to your Google Calendar if you click that plus button. You probably like. I don't know if people are super familiar with how Google Calendar works. I don't know if I can pull it up, but you can add it to your calendar, and there's a way to check a box on your Google Calendar so you can get rid of it whenever you want, and then you can check the box and it'll show up. So it doesn't overtake your actual personal calendar if you use it for Google. But
it's over on the over there. When you open up the calendar on Google, it's over on the left hand side about mid screen. There's a bunch. There's a little thing there. It color codes, and you can actually change the colors if you want. And you can just check, like you were saying, those little check boxes and turn it on and off. So it'll populate the calendar with whatever you want.
Yeah. Actually, I don't. I have my password saved somewhere else, so I can't really get it. I was gonna show everyone what we're talking about, but I also don't want to pull up my personal calendar.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're even looking at the screen that you got up there right there, it would be kind of like where you're hovering your mouse over there on the left hand side. It's like there's a box like right there where it's saying the blog post right about in that spot. It'll list all the calendars you have, and there's a little box next to it, and you can just click it. I mean, you can even go onto it and change the color of it if you want to color code it, customize it that way. But yeah, it's real easy.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with your calendars, and like I integrate my Apple Calendar with my Google Calendar, and I don't want to get too nerdy about it, but all right, so let's talk about a couple games on our website. This is something we always like to share and promote some stuff that we're doing and share some games you can check out. And the one I want to share is actually not a game, so I'm gonna go back to sharing my screen. It's the board game design starter kit. So if anyone is familiar with game design, you might be familiar with the Board Game Design Lab podcast. I don't know if I want to search podcast. Yeah. Okay. It's going to take me, which is Gabe Barrett is the host, and this is his design starter kit that he created. It comes with a lot of great components for designing your own game. If in the fall, if I'm still at the local high school that I'm teaching at, I will likely do a game design course and be using this kit. So
cool.
I'm excited to kind of check it out and actually use it with some students. But this is a little bit about if you are interested in tabletop game design, I highly recommend checking out Board Game Design Lab. And Roger, you have Peptide.
Yeah, so this is a game we carry on our store from Genius Games. It's a biology science theme game where you are. It's kind of showing how the process of making proteins, which is something your body does. Proteins are different things that control your cellular function, like enzymes and stuff, which speed up chemical reactions that allow things to happen. So you're kind of going through that process, and it's kind of working with the amino acids and all the little organelles and stuff like that. But yeah, it's really clever. Obviously streamlining it down, but it gives a nice visualization, and the artwork's really cool looking. The colors and stuff like that. I really like the artwork on it, where it kind of helps you understand that process of what they call protein synthesis, how a cell manufactures and put those things together. But then it makes the game's really fun though. The way that it kind of you're collecting cards and activating those cards and then trying to put these things together and complete them. because they're going to have like those codes on them, and you're having to collect cards for the codes to complete the various amino acids, which are the like the adenine and thymine, and or it's not thymine, it's going to be uracil in this case. But anyway, but it's all color coded too, which makes it very very helpful.
Yeah, this is one of Genius Games games that I have not played. I just know a little bit about how it plays, but I also know that Genius Games, so there is the science, but anyone that is completely lost, you don't need to know the science. Like you mentioned, it's color coded, which is nice because there's not that pressure of like needing to know the science to play and enjoy the game, but there is the bonus benefit of learning or relearning a little bit about the science.
Yeah, and you kind of get it when you don't even realize it. So I think they do a good job with a lot of their games where you're playing it, but the games designs are usually always really fun, but you don't even realize that you're kind of learning some science stuff along the way, right? Because it's just nice the way they kind of, I don't know if it's sneaky, but they've done a really good job of making it fun, but incorporating that in there without you really realizing it.
Right. Yeah. I know cytosis is one I like to share as an example. Like,
yeah,
I remember some basic stuff about how a human cell functions, but yeah, if you don't know anything, and even if you know like very basic, like me, because I don't remember from what I learned in school,
right?
Yeah, but I can still play and enjoy it.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. So next up, we are going to play Corridor. Roger's never played this game, so I'm excited. I'm going to teach him how to play. By teaching, it's like literally takes like a minute to teach someone how to play. It's an abstract game. Abstract games are like chess or checkers, if you're not familiar with that term. It's super simple. I'm going to actually play a video. This is from our TikTok and Instagram. We create some reels, so I have a couple that are in the pipeline. I'm supposed to do one today, so I might do that tomorrow early, about the reading game. But this is Corridor, so I'm going to play this video. Let's talk about and learn to play Corridor. Oh, it doesn't take us out of the stream. Let's talk about and learn to play Corridor. Corridor is one of a few games we carry from Gigamic Games. It is an excellent abstract strategy game. In Corridor, your objective is to move your pawn to the other end of your opponent's side of the board. You do this by either advancing your pawn forward or adding a wall to block your opponent, or that wall can help with making it easier for your pawn to advance. Corridor is an excellent game for practicing spatial and logical reasoning and planning ahead. Gigamic also has an educational guide to go along with this game. Cool. So that is Corridor. So I talked pretty fast, but essentially, yeah, you have two options when you play. When it's your turn, you either move your pawn, or you can place a wall, and that wall can be used to block the other player, or it can be used to help you move into, or move, like kind of wiggle through the wall, I suppose. All right, so I think I need to send you an invite on Board Game Arena.
Okay.
I'm going to pull this up over here so I can kind of share with everyone what I'm doing to get this started. If you want to play online, we have about a minute if anyone's watching and they want to join. So this is Board Game Arena, and you have a lot of different games you can play on here. Oopsies, I just removed Roger. I wanted to add him. You choose simple game, real time, since Roger and I are playing together right now. You can also play in turn-based. So like I would make a move today, and maybe Roger wakes up tomorrow morning and he makes his move. And then you just search the game name. This is free, though there are some games that cost to play.
Yep. Actually, there's some games on here where that turn-based thing would be very applicable. I noticed they put there's a GMT, which does like a lot of, they're more like war game simulation games and stuff like that, where you're playing out some battle that took place in history or whatever, but they just threw one of those up on this site.
Well, cool.
That would totally make sense to probably do a turn-based with those, because those games, some of them can be quite long. So
yeah, and I wonder,
so that's applicable.
That like really makes me wonder, like it would be cool to use this. So I gave a webinar this morning with Tabletop Alliance, and it was about gamifying your semester. I wonder if you could use this as like a kind of like a a way that overarching theme to a semester, maybe. I
Mhm.
don't know. You could have a
Right.
game running in the background like that your students can take their turn,
Yeah. Yeah,
like
absolutely.
once a week or something.
Yeah, like you could stretch it out, and that might make some sense, particularly if there was some stuff on here it might take a little longer to play, but then you wouldn't be
Mm,
rushing the students where it was something that you could have. I agree with you, like have it run in the background. So yeah, that could be really useful, I think.
yeah. Even I mean, even just for the relationships that are formed through like, I've played some games that are turn based and we're in the group chat like chatting like, oh, did you make your move? Oh, I made my move. Whoa, you pulled that move off, kind of type of stuff, and you're creating
Mhm.
these like fun moments in the game.
Right.
If you can do that with your students, if they'd be willing to like play the game turn based, I wonder. I don't know. Haven't tried turn based. Can you set it up to like you can only make one move a day, or uh,
I think you can, if I remember correctly. It's a lot of it's over in the like the game mode settings over on the left-hand
mm,
side
yeah,
of that screen you were in. There's stuff like that that allows you to do those kinds of
yeah,
things. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can. I mean, I've kind of dabbled and looked at it a little bit, but it's not something you normally do. But I think
right,
with something that's longer, like that game I mentioned,
yeah.
or something that might be a little more involved, it would probably make more sense to maybe play it that way.
We'll have to do some research and see. I might try to figure that out for my class that starts next week.
Yeah. So
All right.
okay.
So, yeah, you can either move your pawn or place a wall somewhere. Oh,
Okay.
I don't know. Oh, there we go. Rotate the wall. Oh man, you blocked me in right away, huh?
Yeah, I'm not gonna play nice. I'm not aggressive enough in these games sometimes.
I'm gonna give you a hint. You have to be careful with. Well, I don't really know. I don't even know the strategy. Like I've only played it maybe a handful of times.
Right.
I don't know if that was a good move.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah. So then, yeah, that's the way you got to counter that. Otherwise, you can
Yeah.
get blocked in.
So I just realized too, you cannot block off the path to the end, if that makes sense. There always has to be a viable path for my pawn
Right.
to move
Okay.
from,
Gotcha.
but I also didn't want to have to go all the way back around.
Oh, I see. Like you'd have to circle all the way around.
Yeah, but well, I guess no, you can't circle around. Yeah.
So we're trying to move to the other end of the board? Is that what we're trying
Yeah.
to do? I see. Okay.
Maybe we'll do best of 3. It's a quick game. How many walls do I have? I have 7. So you can see how many walls you have up there.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. You only have so many of them. Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Because like you had an unlimited amount, that would be kind of hokey.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good move. Okay, it's starting to click a little bit what you got to do now.
I'm making some moves. Oh. I don't know. I'm looking like I got a straight shot here coming up here soon.
Yep.
You've got 4 walls left, though. I've got 6. I'm closer now than you are. Oh, man. think there. I think that forces you to.
Yep.
Tricky. Oh, I should change this banner. No.
Yep.
You're making me zigzag, and I'm making you go into a little hole and back out.
Right.
Oh man, that just sealed the deal there though.
Yep. I'm dead in the
You're gonna have
water
to
now.
go. Oh no, I'm clicked wrong.
Oh, it's like block yourself in.
Oh no. I think I should still be able to make it. Oh, and I forgot another rule. So, oh no, that
Only got
killed
one
me.
left.
You can jump another player if they're in your way.
Okay,
Like,
I see.
May be able to help you. Oh man, this is gonna be closer than I thought now because of that little mistake.
Well, maybe not.
Oh, I'm gonna be able to jump you. That's gonna
Yeah,
be good.
that's gonna matter big. Yep. Yeah, because I can't. I got to race all the way around.
Oh.
Well, just got to slow you down a little bit, I guess. Nah, there's no way. I can do the math here. It's just there's no way I'm gonna. Yep.
Oh man. Well, let's do. Do I hit play again or propose a rematch?
You could play again, I think.
Okay. Oh yeah, and then I think I just where's corridor? There we go.
Yep.
All right, so best 2 out of 3. You know a little bit of how to play and how it works.
I'm not good at these kind of games. I like playing them, but I'm never very good at them.
Yeah,
But I enjoy them.
I'm okay at this one, surprisingly. Oh, I have to play first, huh?
No, it looks like me.
Oh, you. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, it is your turn. This is interesting. This is like this is how when I first played how Grace and I did our strategy the second game too. We both just like went straight to the middle. Oh. Hmm. Oh man, I don't know if that was a good move.
Yeah.
You think you can really mess me up here? Dang it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I played it too early. I should have waited one more move. Oh man, I'm gonna have to go all the way down to here. There's just that little gate right there that we can both go through. Hmm. I'm gonna steal a little jump here. Oh no.
Yeah.
I only have 3. You have 4 walls left. This is gonna be close. It's gonna be close. Oh man. Just go, run fast, run fast.
Oh,
The game is so mean.
that's okay. That's part of it.
I mean, you still have 3. Oh,
Yeah, I don't know if that was a good move though. Should have just kept moving.
it's gonna be close. I guess I have 2 walls. I think I got it.
Yep, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, I think a big strategy to it is to try to have more walls than the other player.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like try to wait to play them. I don't know though. Like that's only the 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5th time I played. Grace and I played best of 3. She beat me the first time. I beat her the next 2 times. But yeah, good game. What do you think? What do you think of it?
No, I like it. It reminds me of the, not exactly, but there's some similarities to this new game of Gray Fox is called Ragnaroks or Santorini, which is the same guy that designed Santorini. So it's kind of a situation where you're moving a piece, or you get to put, it's not a wall, but it's a rune stone because it's on a hexagonal grid. So you're blocking the other player, but they have 3 pieces. So you're trying to block them off so they can't move their pieces anymore, or block them off in a spot, because what you're trying to do is isolate your piece into a big area. For every area that's in there that's blocked off, you get a point for it. So it's just you can move your piece and then set a runestone. So you're doing real similar things like you're doing in this game.
And there's player powers too, right?
Yes, yeah, just very much like the other one. Yeah, that adds a little twist.
Yeah,
it adds a little, like, it lets you do something with the runestones, or lets you do something with your pieces to kind of manipulate or whatever. The game's super solid without it, but then you add that. If you add the player powers in it, adds like a whole nother layer, to the game. But yeah, it's really this game really reminds me of that. There's some striking similarities. It plays just kind of like this. It's super fast. I mean, it's like a super quick, 4 or 5, 10-minute game max.
Yeah, those are always nice games to have, is like a quick 10-minute. I mean, I explained how to play in like a minute. We played 2 games of it in like less than 15 minutes. So yeah.
There's I see the same thing with this. That it's actually the game mechanics in this are very simple, but there's actually some depth there, where the game's got, sometimes simplicity with depth is really appealing, where it's got that, like, you can go, oh, let's play again, because it's fast. But there's so much, it's like, the layers of an onion. You're just peeling off these layers, of things that you see every time. So yeah, I really like stuff. Like I said, I'm not really good at some of the abstract strategy games, but I do enjoy them. I like the thinkiness that it gives you, even though I'm just, my brain sometimes isn't wire around it. I think this is a little better because it's 2-dimensional. When you throw the 3-dimensional piece in, like Santorini, I really like, but you add that thing where you're moving up and down along moving, a horizontal plane. It just adds a whole nother thing, and I've played that a few times. I really like that game, but I'm not very good at it. But I still like playing it.
3D abstract games, I think, are tough for me too.
Oh yeah. Just because you add that 3rd dimension in there, like, oh, I got to think this way, but then I got to think this way too. And you got to combine the two, and then kind of develop your strategy around that. Yeah, it's really interesting.
Cool. All right, Roger, I'm going to throw up your email. Get a hold of Roger if you have any questions. He is the science guy, so if you have questions about science, he's probably the better person to talk to about any science games. I know how to play most of them, but as far as like the science behind them, I know probably middle school level stuff. So anything beyond that,
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I'd probably need to do a little bit of Google research. And my email, so we have updated our Board Game with Education main email, and this is probably a good one to reach me at, or podcast@boardgamewitheducation.com, or games@boardgamewitheducation.com. So thank you again, Roger. Thank you for playing a game of Corridor or a couple games and chatting, and we'll be back. Oh, no, we will not be back next week. I should mention that now, and I'll probably post on next Wednesday. I might have a stream next Wednesday talking about the summer camp. If anyone's watching the replay and you're interested in that and you're in the Los Angeles area, I might have a stream about that next week. I haven't decided what time. I might just do next Wednesday. But then we're going to take a couple weeks break because I'm going to be out of town, and we'll be back after the 4th of July. So we'll be off for like 3 weeks.
Sounds good.
All right.
Little summer vacation time.
Yeah. We're going to Portland. And
nice.
Drive up to Portland. I've never been to Oregon, so I'm excited.
Oh, that's awesome. I have a friend of mine that lives right outside of there. I really like it up there. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I love it up there.
I think I will too.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So thanks again, Roger. We'll see you.
Thanks, Dustin.
Yeah.
Okay. See everybody in a few weeks.